here's the reality of the situation. I definitely felt like those two plays definitely should have been in the Browns' favor. That was a fumble. No question about it on the part of Derek Carr. That was a fumble. There's a strip sack. There's no doubt about it. It was a bogus call. And obviously they got the first down as well. So I give you that. But there were 4 turnovers. There were some overthrows. There's a pick 6 that went through Galloway's hands that ended up with Conley intercepting it and running it in for a touchdown. How about Todd Haley deep in their own territory? I forgot whether it was like a 2-yard line or 3-yard line or whatever. You got a rookie, Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, despite the 4 turnovers, looked pretty damn good at times, made some of the throws, and we'll get into that in a second. But then you got Todd Haley calling pass plays as opposed to really calling a running play and taking some pressure off the kid. That would have boded well. That would have helped to some degree. You don't put a rookie quarterback in a situation like that. So there were a plethora of things that went on during the game that had me looking at the Cleveland Browns and saying, excuse me, do you want to win this? Because even though you were in it, obviously, and putting up numbers against a Raiders defense that John Gruden has clearly neglected, we won't even get into that right now. All right, Khalil Mack, and wonder what life would have been like for you as the Oakland Raiders if you had him there instead of leaving him in Chicago right now.
Good.
Okay? The bottom line is when you look at the Cleveland Browns, even though those 2 plays, I completely agree with you, they did enough to beat themselves yesterday. They did enough to beat themselves.
Listen, I get it. You commit 4 turnovers. A lot of people going to look at, it's like the typical things. Well, there's plays in the game that we could always point to as to why you lost the game. But, man, it's hard to – that one run by Carlos Hyde where that's ice in the game. The game is over at that point. The Raiders have 1 timeout under 2 minutes.
It's over.
The game is over. The game is over. And in a matter of inches, you mean to tell me in replay that it was just conclusive that he didn't get there? Mm-hmm. There's no way looking at it. I mean, I was watching in real time. I didn't see anything that just said, oh, he definitely didn't get the first down in that particular situation. So I definitely felt like the league office gave the Browns a bad spot in that particular situation. But also with the Browns defense, I thought Greg Williams would have came with something better. You're giving up 45 points to the Oakland Raiders out there. I mean,
there's 28-14.
Yeah, if you're the defense with a rookie quarterback, you got to help your guy out. Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
That's a good defense too.
That's a good defense. You got playmakers all over that defense, and for them to allow the Raiders to come back in the fashion that they came back, you got to point a lot of that to Greg Williams because Baker Mayfield, even with the turnovers. Baker Mayfield's looking pretty damn good out there.
They scored 42 points.
They scored 42 points. You have to win the game.
But this is what I mean about the conspiracy theories with the fans, why you understand. Gruden is a big deal to the league, to football, right? He's a big deal on TV, the whole thing. He's 0-3. The Raiders are at home. The spread is 2.5 points. The Browns win the game twice. The officials will not let them win the game. And then the Raiders cover. They win by 3. Like, I understand, but you get why people think, and this just doesn't apply to football, it's in basketball, I get it too. You understand why. The Browns won the game.
Yeah. I want to focus on Baker Mayfield now, though, Stephen A. We said he had 4 turnovers. 2 were definitely on him. I don't know if the other 2 were all his fault.
2 fumbles as well, yeah.
What do you have to say about his performance yesterday?
Well, listen. I like his moxie. I like the fact that, first of all, he's thrown some dimes. We've seen it now 2 weeks in a row.
He's very accurate.
We've seen it now 2 weeks in a row.
When he's accurate.
The one thing that I will count against him is the fact that he came into the National Football League not just ballyhooed for his accuracy completion-wise as a passer, but also because he didn't kill himself by committing turnovers. And in this first start, there's 4 of them. So that's something that he's gonna have to fix, and one will believe he can fix. I'm just not. Again, I still need to see more, and the reason why I need to see more is because who were you going against? You were going up against a Raiders defense who's virtually non-existent in the eyes of most NFL aficionados right now. They're just not an impressive defense. And when you consider the way that they've struggled on defense, and you consider the fact that there were 4 turnovers that took place on the Cleveland Browns, and still you dropped 42 points, then it speaks to how horrid Oakland's defense truly is. So, again, I'm not going to take anything away from Baker Mayfield because it was impressive. But in the same breath, he completed a little more than 50% of his passes. It was 21 of 41. It wasn't like it was 31 of 41. Let's just keep that in mind. And obviously, we got to look at the fact that, again, as you continue to play, you're not going to have the benefit of playing against those suspect defenses. Because there's a lot of defenses better than
Here's
those.
what I will say about Baker Mayfield. Listen, the 4 turnovers, I think that'll get better as he gets more experience. But the one thing that when you watch the Browns play, those guys play for Baker Mayfield. Like, he brings the intangible that there's just not many quarterbacks that have.
He galvanizes the troops, the energy, that it factor.
Think about it. I mean, this is a team scored 42 points. Scored 42 points out there. Now, granted, it was against the Raiders, but the fact that when you watch this team play, they have a different energy on offense, and to me, that bodes well for the Browns moving forward.
He also went into a desperate situation, and as I said, won the game. The Raiders were desperate, and Baker Mayfield led them to a win. I don't care what the official result is. In my mind, that's a win. Look, the way people keep stats needs to be changed. It needs to be changed. That pick 6 is not an interception on Baker Mayfield. Call it a muffed catch. Call it a fumble. Call it something. If the quarterback hits the receiver in the hands, that's not an interception on the quarterback, but we count it that way. And then he bounced back from that, which wasn't even his fault, and led his team to 42 points. Yep. Don't tell me about what the defense is. I get it. Look, Brady had 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and under 300 yards, but tough to criticize him, too tough when his team scores 38 points, right? Well, it's the same thing for Baker Mayfield here. And by the way, I don't mind the turnovers, or even the ones that were his fault. With a young player, this goes for point guards and quarterbacks. I like to see some turnovers. I want to see a guy who's not scared.